This is the R6 Mark II. This little guy has been with me ever since it came out. I have two of these and I am incredibly happy with the results I get from this camera. However, the R5 Mark II just came out and odds are, much like you, I have a lot of intrigue about it. And in this video, we're going to be deep diving into the photo features, the video features, as well as the compromise I'm okay with. Before we begin, however, where are my manners? My name is Francis, put it right there. Heard good things about you. I happen to be a wedding photographer based out of sunny San Juan, Puerto Rico, and also an aftershoot ambassador. If you want to check out Aftershoot for free for 30 days, I hooked you up with a link in the description just for making it this far into the video. And if you decide it's for you, that same link is going to hook you up with 15% off your choice of subscription. You're welcome. I first want to preface this video by saying that when this guy came out, it was my absolute dream camera. I thought it had everything that I needed, nothing that I don't, and it actually does everything well. But obviously, we're all gear nerds in this channel, and the R5 Mark II has some very specific photo, video, and also things you need to consider when upgrading. And I wanted to talk about these specifically as it pertains to the wedding photography. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that it will not apply to other niches of photography, but obviously I'm a wedding photographer, so it's going to be a wedding video centric sort of approach to this camera. The first thing that I want to discuss is obviously that gorgeous 45 megapixel backside illuminated stacked sensor paired with the accelerator. Now, this is going to give you some amazing images right out of camera. 45 megapixels to me is more than I would typically need, but Canon really doesn't make somewhere along the lines of a 33 megapixel, which to me is sort of like a sweet spot between low ISO as well as good enough resolution. 45 megapixels is going to be great for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's going to give me that tack sharp image that I've always been after. Number two, it is going to take my macro photography, specifically the details of the bride and groom that I photographed early during a wedding. It's going to make that look so much crispier and so much more detailed when it comes to photographing macro photography. And also, whenever I have establishing shots, I can also crop in so that I can sort of narrow down the exact composition that I'm looking for and not lose a lot of detail and quality to my image. The second photo feature that has me very intrigued is the fact that the autofocusing system, which admittedly has always been at the forefront, has deep learning technology. Now, what does this mean? It got so much better. Now, the autofocusing system, as pertains to the people that actually tested this body in Arizona not too long ago, is that much more improved. It's stickier, it misses a lot less, and that is something that I, as a wedding photographer, definitely can appreciate. Now, I want to mention honorably two little knickknacks within the autofocusing system that are going to be bonkers when it comes to specific wedding photography. The first is the people priority. Now, what does this mean exactly? Well, this means that you can take the bride and the groom and maybe perhaps 5 or 6 of the most important entourage members and take a picture of them so that you can teach the camera to prioritize these people in order of importance, literally order of importance to the camera, so that the camera can learn to prioritize them according to that priority that you've set forth. I know this is a lot of redundancy, but at the end of the day, you can take pictures of these people and the camera's intelligence is going to know that whenever they're scoping and hunting for them in the picture, they are going to focus on them first. Now, this is a game changer because it gives me the peace of mind that as a wedding photographer, I'm always going to look for bride and groom first and any other member of that entourage consecutively as it goes down the chain of command, and you will. So that's a game changer. The second little knickknack is going to be the IAF. Now, this is something that Canon apparently has had in the past, but reintegrated in the R3. And whenever I saw that, especially in, I think it was a Sam Hurd video, I was absolutely mind blown. Now, this feature is also going to be integrated into the R5 Mark II, which means that you can train your eye to literally look at the screen and it actually focuses on where you were looking. Now, this is very cool technology. Again, at a wedding is going to be a game changer because I don't have to fumble with the right hand, my right thumb on the right side of my screen anymore. I don't have to do that. All I have to do is just look and train the eye and make sure that my focus is where I am looking. And obviously, that's yet another game changer for this camera. And last but not least, the other photo features is actually a two-parter. Number one, you have in-camera upscaling. This means that if I'm on my 100 macro and I want to get even more resolution out of the ring shot or wedding band, I could actually crop in camera to increase the resolution of that and get that really tack sharp banger, which is kind of cool. And the second one is in-camera denoising. Now, this means that although 45 megapixels will in fact be a little detrimental to the noise in dark and dimly lit situations, you can now denoise in camera. Now, this is probably going to be used sparingly by me if I ever get this camera because Lightroom denoise is so good. But it's also a neat feature, and it's nice to know that I can use it if I want to. So now that we discussed the photo features that have me intrigued, I now want to focus my attention onto the video, because video is also something that my team and I offer. We do hybrid coverage at weddings, and we put together some pretty nice wedding films. And so I now want to talk about the features within the video realm of things that have me on the fence about whether or not I should actually upgrade to the R5 Mark II, the first of which being C-Log 2. Now, C-Log 2 is another form of log that has a deeper, more dynamic range, something that we used to seeing in the cinema cameras. Now, it's really cool that at this price point, C-Log 2 was integrated, because I know that Javier, my editor in Argentina, is going to have that much more fun editing and color grading these feature films that we put together for clients. So C-Log 2 is definitely an added bonus. However, C-Log 3 is also going to be incorporated, which is something that we are used to. The second video feature that I want to talk about, and is flying under the radar for a lot of people, is the fact that I now have a tally light. Now, you might be thinking, ooh, tally light, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, I'm going to explain why it is a huge deal for me. So for the most part, when it comes to shooting video at a wedding, I have one of the R6 Mark II's static shots on a tripod somewhere in the middle of the ceremony, off to the side, and it's always going to be on. Now, I have nobody manning that camera, so I periodically have to go around and make sure it is, for whatever reason, still recording and hasn't lost its power connection. Now, having a tally light, all I have to do is literally make sure that that light in front of the camera is still going, and I don't have to waste time going behind the camera to actually man the camera. So if you're like me, then you have two videographers on gimbal and you have a static shot, a tally light is going to give you a lot of peace of mind, especially during a ceremony, which is a can't miss situation. The next video feature that put a smile on my face is sort of like an addendum to the previous one, which is that overheating is essentially a thing of the past. Now, I do live in Puerto Rico. I shoot weddings here, and winter for us is 90 degrees. So it's nice to know that there is an accompanying battery grip that has a built-in cooling fan, so that when I do put a R5 Mark II on a tripod and set it to record, I don't have to worry about it stopping because of overheating, regardless of how long a ceremony might take. Now, granted, it's 20, max 30 minutes, but it's nice knowing that if it exceeds that, I'm good. The fourth video feature that has me extremely happy is the sense that, much like my R6 Mark II, the R5 Mark II also features the handy photo video dial. Now, why is this huge? Well, I actually discussed it as the reason why I got one of these cameras, and it's the fact that I provide a lot of hybrid video coverage. This means that once I'm done taking pictures, sometimes I'll go straight into 4K 24 or 4K 60 to make a couple of clips here and there, and then tie them, stitch them together in post-processing for a quick 3 to 5 minute wedding film that my clients enjoy from time to time. So that feature, although not new to me, is very nice to see in the R5 Mark II. The next video feature that has me very intrigued is the fact that the R5 Mark II, unlike the R6 Mark II, can in fact shoot 120 in 4K. Now, don't get me wrong, I can do that here, but it's also going to be HD and with no audio. Whereas the 4K 120 will in fact capture 120 in 4K resolution, as well as capture the audio that is tied with it. So that's a neat feature to have. Now, don't get me wrong, 4K 60 is what I typically shoot for my weddings, but having 120, it just hits different. You know that, I know that, we all know that. The last video feature that has me very happy is the fact that 4K is now 12-bit. That means that Javier, my editor, is now going to have more dynamic range and thus more color grading ability in post-production and flexibility when it comes to our wedding films. Now, don't get me wrong, 10-bit 422 is more than plenty for most of us, but at the end of the day, why not have 12? Now, let's face facts and not cover the sky with our hand here. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. There are some drawbacks to jumping ship to an R5 Mark II, and I can immediately think of two of them. Number one is the fact that you're now going to have to deal with CF Express cards. I, for one, haven't even held a CF Express of any kind in my hand, so I don't even know what they feel like, but fact of the matter is one of the slots within this camera is CF Express because it now has all these knickknacks and features that require a little bit of a faster card and more readout speeds and write speeds and all that jazz. And so you're going to have to invest in CF Express, preferably type B, as I hear the B stands for better. Now, admittedly, these cards are a little heftier, they're bigger. You also have to consider the fact that they are way more expensive than even your V90 card. So that's something you have to compromise on. But at the end of the day, I think I'm okay with doing that. The second compromise that I'm actually okay with is the fact that as a result of that 45 megapixel BSI stack sensor, you're going to have bigger file sizes. What does this mean? This means that you are going to have to incur in a CF Express type B or A card reader, which costs money. Storage is going to be more of a headache because the file sizes are going to be bigger, and therefore you're either going to have to invest in more SSDs or a bigger hard drive within your computer or even a NOS system. So that's going to be additional expenses that you have to obviously consider when upgrading to this camera. But again, these two compromises I'm okay with because I think the benefits far outweigh the only two negative things that I could think about. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts coming from a photo, video, wedding photographer and videographer. Now, what are your thoughts? Do you own the R6 Mark II? Are you going to stay put? Is this intriguing you just as much as it is intriguing me? Are you going to pre-order? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. I would love to continue and get to know you guys from a personal level. If you enjoyed this video, hey, stick that thumb you know where. And if you want to see more videos like this one, stick around by subscribing. I'd love to have you. I'm on that quest for 2,000 subscribers, and I'm doing a giveaway for it when it happens. So having said that, thanks again for watching. My name is Francis. I will see you in the next one.